It would have been hard to imagine in the teens and 20s, but the Skirvin's real glory years were still ahead of her and were ushered in when a charismatic hotelier named Dan James acquired the hotel in the 40s.
So when Dad bought the Skirvins, at that time, it was obsolete in the interior. Very old and tired, and not even air conditioned. So he came in, and at that point he owned the Black Hotel, and he had turned that into the place to go. And so he immediately modernized all the furnishings, everything went out, and did the bathrooms, air conditioning.
Dan James' improvements extended to the Skirvin Tower as well.
So over there he put in a wonderful ballroom. That was the place to be for big entertainment. Then, at the same time, almost the same time, in the lower floor of the Skirvin Tower, he put in what was called the Tower Club. That's what you didn't even say, where should we go on the weekends? Everyone met in the Tower Club, and that was the lower level. And it was so beautiful. And the food was wonderful.
And everyone meant everyone, including some of the biggest stars of the day. The Skirvin's owner was a man who knew how to share a good time with one and all.
They had a costume ball, and he showed up as a bottle of Old Tailor's, I believe it is. During Depression, there's notes from General Dwight Eisenhower thanking Mr. James for sharing from his private whiskey collection.
Though many in our community at large never knew it, Dan James' courtesy extended to Oklahoma City's African Americans who found employment at the Skirvin and, perhaps just as important, respect.
No matter what color or type, he was their friend.
And I think he was a man before his time.
As a high school student, Russell Perry worked the Skirvin ballroom Saturday nights whenever he could and says the Skirvin was the pinnacle of opportunity for the city's black community.
The top job in Oklahoma City during that 30, 40, 50-year period that I can recall as a young man was the head waiter at the Skirvin Hotel. In the whole city, everybody. He had the largest car, the nicest home, the prettiest wife. Need I say more?
And I guess whoever was running the elevator was off a long time, because I think I remember working the entire summer. I just marveled at all the beautiful people. They'd be so dressed up and coming in and out, and they'd be seeming to have so much fun.
We took that training that was given and trained here in this institution, and that's what I call it, and took it back to our community, and for the most part, a great number of them were our leaders.
Civil rights activist Clara Luper and her youth group led quiet protests at the Skirvin, which eventually became the first hotel in Oklahoma City to desegregate. The Skirvin had bridged the gap of social injustice, survived war and depression, but ultimately fell victim to the inexorable pull of the suburbs.
Dan James had put it on the right track. And then with his son George James, they position it, they make the transition from travel by railroad to travel by automobile, which is happening in the 50s. That's this transition decade. They see it coming, they try to make accommodations in the 60s with the sun deck, with a parking garage, with changes. But they see by the early 60s that downtown hotels are going to suffer. They try to make that transition, but the suburban competition is winning by the early 1960s. And so the James family sells to a consortium out of Chicago.
For this now seasoned hotel, there would be another oil boom and bust, while the glory days of the Skirvin awaited an encore.